Hello and welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging and Friends. We are playing Holler for Savage Worlds tonight. We are continuing our Blasted Beauty campaign, the campaign that can be found in the core book for Holler, which I now have my physical copy of, which I've been parading around them, which I'm very excited. Just got this last week, and it is gorgeous. So if you don't have one, you should get one. And I am also going to be. Hopefully Eric's not in the chat from Norse Foundry. I'm not going to be using Norse Foundry dice tonight because I'm going to be using the dice that came in the box set because one of them's got this beautiful little owl on it. So I'm going to use that one. So anyhow, that's what I'm going to roll tonight. But we're continuing our campaign. We're down a double D. So we only have, what was it? What did we say in front? Like we're down to the 1D. We only have
it's
the
a single
D. Yeah. We got a single D tonight.
And he did make us promise that we would not get him murdered or married in his absence. So
now he said that, but none of us actually promised that. I don't think.
Not one of us agreed.
Exactly. So like, I don't want to kill him.
Made.
But he might have a fairy wife by the time this session's done. I don't know. We'll see. It wouldn't be the first time. Maybe
at least an engagement. Maybe. And,
maybe. Maybe. So yeah, I think definitely an engagement or at least a date or something like that when he gets back, and we'll force him to wear like one of those little like flowery like garland things around his head. Chuck will have to do that, and it'll be great. But before we go and do that, why don't we go ahead and introduce everybody, figure out who everyone's playing, and we'll do a little summary, and we'll get started. And currently, I think Joe should be working on a new character. And that's that. So Dan, you're leading us off tonight. Tell us about Doggin.
No. How unfortunate. I am playing Doggin, and I am Dan. He's technically our moonshiner, but I call him our alcohol wizard. And I'm kind of mostly dealing with either kind of buffs or explosions.
I keep forgetting to fix the overlay to add alcohol wizard. I'll write a little note to myself.
I just enjoy it. It just sounds silly.
I think it sounds hilarious. Alcohol wizard is wonderful. Okay. And this is third time's the charm. It seems this might be the longest living dog family member. I don't know.
Yeah.
You think so?
Might be. I mean, in this campaign, for sure.
It made one session. So
no.
Definitely not that one. The second one, maybe. I don't know. It's between... Which one was your second one?
I don't think he survived a whole adventure, though, because he died at the end of like that chapter.
Sure. So so I would say, Doggin's probably lasted the longest. So that's good to see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Next up, we have Double D's brother, Cletus. Jeremy, tell us about Cletus.
Yeah, man, I'm Cletus. I'm Double D's big little brother. I guess I account for only half a D, and that's okay. Yeah, I'm an Appalachian ninja. Do what needs to get done, which at this point does seem to me. Maybe I need to go find that little forest lady what escaped earlier. Maybe I should rethink my stance on that, and I should share his love poem that he was punching his love sonnets into place, and I should give that to her.
Yeah. I find it really interesting that both of the Cletus brothers have had romantic interludes throughout the campaign here and there. Both of them have almost gotten strange wives throughout. So
it's what we do. Our appeal is strong, but also bizarre.
Yeah, I can see that. Before the end of Act 10, we definitely have to have a wedding. I think we have to end on a wedding or something like that. We'll see. We'll see who it is, who's standing at the very end. All right, bottom row. Melissa, tell us about Louisa.
So Louisa is our holy roller. She can do some healing. She can do some auguring. She is wanted, which is a detail that only comes up every here and again. And she is a phobia of bears.
Yeah,
she's picked up. That's
fair.
The way.
Yeah, and that was during the adventure near Weird, right? The witch village, wasn't that's what it was? Yeah, when everyone went turned into the bear, that was pretty nuts. Yeah, okay. And then
pretty rational phobia.
I think that would make perfect sense. Cause effect, totally connected right there. No problem at all. And then we've got our Mr. Fix-It back. Bert, tell us about Joe.
I'm Joe. I'm the mechanic of the group. Some have called me a cold-blooded killer, but I assure you, I ran the numbers, I did the math, and it was only logical. Sometimes it's better to end folk than talk to folk.
Yeah, that's and you're very good at that end folk thing. We've learned throughout Stone Cold Killer, whether it's a gun or a throwing knife or whatever it might be, Joe has a reputation. That's for sure. And then finally, probably for the last time, we've got Amian. Joe, tell us about Amian.
Yeah, I'm Amian, recently adopted to the brothers here, and likewise, also receiving unwanted advances from people around the Holler, and got possessed by something last time, I think. So we'll see how that plays out.
Maybe. All right, so a quick summary, let everyone catch up, including Bert, who missed last session. So after returning from the incidents at Cherry Mountain, which was the previous act, where we had that moonshine war that was going on, you all finally got a little downtime. Cletus, you were very gentlemanly as you helped the very pregnant Betty Cole get settled in Coal Holler, after her husband never returned. Double D, as you had mentioned, had that run-in with a Spriggan who had kind of wandered down from the Fayfall Mountains. Others kind of took some opportunity to practice their shooting or their social skills, and some of you were like kind of checking on gossip that was like kind of circling around Ashdown as well. But after a week or so, LMA called you back to the Serpent Church that you have been using kind of as your headquarters in the Hogback Hills. And there, Moonshiner Clarence Jones, who you had all met before, you borrow a jalopy from before, was demanding a return on a promise that you had all made to him not too long ago, and that was to rescue Harley Rice, one of his friends, that had gotten taken into custody by the big boys as a result of the opening brawl we had inside of Stump Bumpers in the very first act of the campaign. Through her contacts, LMA had learned that Harley had been taken into the Bonduran Asylum, which is in the Cussfoot Fens, and also that there was a company man turned saboteur by the name of Stormy Pickins, who had also been taken into asylum. She was kind of interested in breaking out and kind of getting on the team. So she kind of reckoned sort of kill two birds with one stone type of deal, and plus it would keep Clarence happy. And so you headed east, out of the Hogback Hills towards the Cussfoot Fens. You worked your way across the Big Sandy River, and then past the remnants of Almarine, a town that Cletus knew well because he once saw a sinkhole explode and this whole mess of demons kind of overrun and destroy the town, or thereabouts destroy the town. You all came to the aid of the widow Irving Slayton, a former resident of Almarine, who was being hounded by what gossip has started to refer to as like Meatyardians, which are these perversely masked like mutations of like a Clade or a Varnish head, something like that. He was injured, but he decided to be appreciative and brought you all back to his shack near his cranberry bog. And during the night, Irving wandered outside, got himself caught in a trap that you all had set for your protection.
It was a great trap.
It was such a good trap. I was so happy that happened. And then as you woke up, you went outside, you saw the body of Irving in the trap below, and then you saw just a few yards away this massive and grotesque elk that was standing up on two legs, and it was kind of spitting and growling something fierce. Dropped onto all four and charged at you all. Everyone kind of scattered and dove for cover, but Amian was the slowest, unfortunately. But strangely enough, rather than spear him against the wall of the shack, which he very well easily could have done, it inexplicably dove basically right into your belly and sort of disappeared before everyone's eyes.
I'm sure that's better.
Yeah, I'm sure it's totally better. So we are going to pick up.
Can't see it. It's not there.
Yeah.
We will go ahead and we will pick up right at that moment. Everyone, you're in the process of getting up, kind of dusting the mud off yourselves. It's super, super early in the morning, pre-dawn, we'll say. Amian, you don't feel hurt, but something weird just happened. And then there's the body on the ground as well. What you all like to do?
So the first thing I want to see is, did it leave like any traces of what ran at me? I want to see if it was like just an illusion completely, or
sure.
if there's
roll a notice test.
Like, did it leave footprints in the mud, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Notice test is fine. Survival, I guess, is okay too.
I noticed lots of things.
Three.
Three.
Oh, I haven't reset my bennies.
Oh, yeah, let me do that for everybody. Let me refresh.
Oh, there we go. I got a
all bennies.
4. Oh.
Okay. So as you're all getting up, Doggett, you look around, you see Amian kind of hands and knees a little bit, still sort of in a little bit of shock. Actually, Amian, you should probably roll a spirit test for shock or fear at this moment.
Okay.
Doggett, you look around, and there are in fact tracks in the ground, as if this thing did physically move in the direction of all of you. Yeah.
So when you say body, Joe doesn't necessarily believe that everybody's a dead body. So he'd like to check the body and make sure there is no semblance of life left in it.
So there's no body of this creature. That is gone. But there is the body of Irving Slayton,
Yes.
who is in the trap. When you check him, do you have you can roll? I guess you can roll a notice test or a healing test if you have that.
Here comes notice. Hey, that's not bad.
So yeah, first of all, definitely dead. You're very certain. But you also notice that like the body's in very, very rough shape. Like the spine is like sort of misshapen, lots of broken bones. Outside of like the section where the body got, like, it was really just the legs that got trapped inside that trap. So it doesn't really make sense for the spine to suddenly be like malshapen, kind of this whole like crooked S and all that kind of stuff. None of that really
being
kind
a
of.
healer, can Joe tell if he died from the trap or was he already dead prior to?
With us, I mean, you rolled the test. I would say he didn't. You would probably think that he. Yeah, without being a healer, I don't think you would know that. Yeah, I don't. You're right. I don't think you would know the cause of death.
Just that he is.
Joe can always call Louisa over.
He dead.
Wonder.
Okay. Luis, if you want to roll a heal test, go ahead.
Yeah, if Joe would call Louisa over. Louisa.
Yeah. He just calls out. Yeah, he dead.
What from the trap, right?
I point out the spine issues and some other things.
Well, that's interesting. Let me take a look at this. That is a. Ooh.
Steven, thank you for those gift subs, sir.
Oh my goodness. You already
Very
have
nice
two
of you.
complications, Jeff. 2 already.
Do I really?
Oh my.
You do. Yes, you do.
I actually put those in my notes this time around. Like, in case of complications, add this later.
Oh, you got
Okay.
2 of them. So
Oh
there you
my.
go. And that's a
I'm
7.
starting to make that a part of my prep.
It's a 7 on the healing.
Okay, so if you're specifically looking for a cause of death, it's a broken neck. Yeah, it's definitely, it's not just the spine that's been malshapen, but the neck is broken, and you're confident that doesn't make sense relative to the trap. And there's really no hard surfaces that he could have banged his head on that would have caused this. There's no bleeding coming down from like a rock that he fell on. But as you're looking at him, you do notice underneath his jaw, kind of growing out of his jaw, kind of where his head sort of tilted off to the side, you actually, it's the strangest thing. It doesn't look like bone necessarily, but it looks almost like a piece of antler. But it's not like it's been punctured. It's like it's coming out of him.
Oh, that ain't right.
That's the wrong direction. That's not supposed to go that way. It's supposed to go the other way. Anybody else feeling like they're about to get some antlers coming out of their throat or neck? Or anything?
Hopefully not me.
Here's some liquor.
I'm
How'd you
gonna,
do on that test, by the way? That's that fear test.
I rolled a 4.
You're okay.
Is it like a?
Yeah, just 4. 4 is all you need, as usual. Yeah, you probably feel a little like weird about what just happened, but I mean, you feel fine. You look at your body, no wounds. You don't feel anything kind
I'm
of
like
particularly
checking
no,
myself.
Yeah, better
The
check
only
that
way I
belly
know.
It's
button.
fine.
Yeah.
And the
He doesn't
antlers.
have one.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
He's
It's
an
my favorite
AW.
part. With a combination of what I saw and the antlers coming out of the guy. Can I make like a folklore test?
I'd give you an occult test, I think.
Occult test. I can do occult.
Yeah, occult I think would probably make more sense here.
Okay.
Anybody else, if you have a cult and would like to roll it, you're welcome to do that.
Don't. Though I'm tempted to
I've
roll it.
just got distilling.
Yeah. My best roll was a 5.
All right, so a 5. Okay. So you would know, Amian, that there are this is common knowledge across the Hollers that there are a variety of demons and haints and, you know, all sorts of things, right? But you would know specifically that there's these kind of shapeshiftery types of demons. Sometimes they're called body demons. Sometimes they're called Wendigos. You know that they can potentially like invade a person's body and kind of deform the natural parameters of their mortal coil from the inside out. You know, you've probably never seen anything like that before. It's probably just been stories passed along or something you've overheard, but you have heard of it. And coupled with what you just saw, the antler sticking out of the guy's neck, all these broken and malshapen bones. I don't know, maybe something like that.
All right. Do I know if they travel in herds? Because, like, this guy got affected. I don't know if I'll know enough.
Just a regular success, right? No, you don't know anything about that, I would say. No information one way or the other about that.
All right.
Gosh.
Louisa, you know anything about getting Wendigos out of people?
Got some liquor.
Body demons. Exorcisms.
Unfortunately, my skills do not have not ascended all the way to exorcism types of things. I can recover you from conditions.
Got a dusty prop here. Yeah. This is my only solution for you.
He lights it on fire. Just so committed. Louisa, you have faith, right? Like, if you're a faith here, faith would be okay. If you wanted to roll faith, you could do that.
I'll certainly give it a shot. Pull out my D10.
Is there a way to assist on rolls?
Oh, good.
You can support, and then I would say in a knowledge test, I would say it probably doesn't really make sense here. Especially since you already rolled kind of a knowledge test on this.
I'm betting that because that was a horrendous roll. Yeah, it's better. It's 7. Okay,
so I mean, with what Amian's already said and what others have already said here and there, I mean, if Amian's right, if this is one of these body demons, one of these things that kind of invade a person's physical form and change them somehow, I mean, it stands to reason. Exorcism certainly is a way of potentially getting the creature out. It's up to you whether you think Luis has performed any of these before. That's your call. I would say at the very least you would know the sort of the basics. Like, theoretically you would know how to do it. Whether or not you will want to say Luis has ever participated in that's your call. Would she have, you think?
I would say that she has watched an exorcism. I would say that this would be a first time for her if this is something you would like for her to partake in.
It is a lengthy process. It's an exhausting process, but it, theoretically could be a way to combat if Amian is in fact possessed. Which you're not entirely certain of that.
What are you thinking, kid? I've seen it, never done it, but I can try.
What happens if you fail it? Is it just kind of like nothing happens, or does it make it worse?
I mean, whenever you are trying to remove a pest, and in the process of removing the pest, you agitate that said pest, I would imagine there's always a possibility that some things could happen.
Like, do a bunch of stretches ahead of time, get yourself nice and limber. That way, if it twists around, you're ready.
Now,
that's a good idea.
I feel like that Doggins offered you some liquid assistance if things were to go awry?
I don't know if, I mean, pretty early, so maybe doing it now helps before it gets worse. I don't know if you're supposed to wait or not. I hope not. I don't want to wait.
I think it's kind of like having a bad thought in your mind. The more you kind of sit and ponder and ponder and ponder, the worse it kind of digs its way in there. So, following that logic, perhaps the earlier the better.
Do we know how far away we are from the next town?
So there's no really close town. There's not a ton of towns in the Cussfoot Fens. It's not a very safe place. There's the Terrapin's Corner, but that's which is to the north. So if you want to hop back really quickly to the Holler map, I can ping some stuff for you. You guys are basically just east or northeast of Almarine or so. So you're probably where I'm pinging there. It's kind of between where the words for Almarine and Terrapin's Corner are. Terrapin's is kind of a little bit east-northeast, but it is across the Sandy. And then there's Bondurn Asylum, which is where you're headed. That's where this act is kind of taking you, which is kind of on this little nook, sort of like this. There's sort of like where the bend is, and the Big Sandy splits off in a different direction. So you are probably a day, maybe, in the type of conditions. You do see storm on the horizon. It's early in the morning, and you can already see. I mean, you're in the Fens. The Fens have storms. There's fog rolling in. It's very hard to see anything. It's rancid and stinks. It's slow moving. There's no real like roads or anything here. A lot of it's just trudging through swamp. It's your call.
What is Terrapin's Corner? Is it like?
Okay, so Joe, Amian, I should say, Amian, you especially, because you've been invited there. So Terrapin's Corner has got it's basically known for being kind of almost like a retirement community, where a lot of folks who are beyond their productive years kind of retire there, and has a reputation for like long-winded storytelling from folks and things like that. Bastian Bach, one of the guys that you met when you were at the Fiddlers Convention, he invited you here at some point if you ever wanted to learn more about storytelling or singing or something like that. And you know that it also has, it's named after like these really big and kind of ornery snapping turtles that are on the banks of the river where the town makes it. But it's just it's like kind of an old folks town.
Okay. Either we bunker down here, which is probably our only shelter until we get there, or try to get there. I feel like we'll hit there, like, because we need to cross a river right before we get there. That would probably be right when a storm hits us. So,
Yeah, man, we
Does it
can.
sound like bad things have happened at the same time?
I think we'll be fine. You can make it, man. Like, you're part of the family now, and we know how to handle demons. We keep our stuff bottled up for a long time. On top of that, I had me a funny thought that what if the meat yardians, them tater heads, what if, crazy thought, we had it all backwards and they was hunting the demon and we just accidentally helped the demon out, but it got caught in a bear trap and we were like, oops.
It's all right. It's all right. Like my dad always said, it says, son, you got yourself an inner demon in you, and you should never let it out, son, because bad things will happen. As long as you leave it in you, it's all good.
Just bottle it all up.
all right. Maybe we'll get to Terrapins and see if anyone else has got some ideas there.
Okay, so early morning, not yet dawn. You do see storms on the horizon, swooping in fast. You have this shack. And remember, it's not a very big shack. You were all kind of on top of each other, but it was a roof over your heads at least. But you can look at it. It's pretty, lean-to such. The body of Irving Slayton is in front of you, broken, malformed. What do you all want to do? What's the plan?
Is he like staying the same, broken and malformed? It's not like continuing to change.
No, he's not continuing to change.
Okay.
So we'll say you've been here.
Like that was an important question.
Yeah. Say you guys have been talking 20, 30 minutes or so. Nothing's changed about him.
Is he wearing normal clothing?
Yeah, you can tell he's got like these like fen stained overalls that he's got on. Yeah.
I'm going to go through his pockets. See what he's been doing.
Would I remember that we for sure got a good enough look at him before to know that he like wasn't hiding these like malformations?
Well, he was grimacing from time to time, if you recall. No one really asked him about it, but he was grimacing from time to time. And I don't know if anyone really took the time to like look him over at any point. So
Just assumed it was bone spurs, but it turns out it was bone antlers.
I think someone tried to do a heal on him at one point. I think Louisa might have.
Yeah, at least
because
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. That's a fair point.
Yeah, I did.
I would say you probably would have noticed that he certainly looked. You didn't notice, obviously, the antler. You didn't notice a broken neck or anything like that, and probably not the spine. But he definitely looked like he was having some joint issues. Like his you could tell like some of his fingers were a little bit kind of crooked and elbow looking crooked. You know, at the time, maybe that just looked like, you know, he's a little bit older. Maybe he's dealing with a condition. But now, considering this extra context, it might, like looking back, mean something different to you.
And you got a brain like a steel trap. Speaking of steel traps, I'm terribly sorry, sir, but I am going to take this back off of your form.
You're ungifting.
I don't think he needs it anymore. So
No, he don't
we
need
can take it back.
it.
So if I understand correctly, we are going to leave the demon inside our young friend here and progress along on our journey. Is that what I am understanding?
I think we're gonna try and get to Terrapins and deal with it there.
Well, all
I mean,
right
you
then.
tell us if your back starts all getting all bendy and you're getting lots of pains and such, right? You tell us.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if the time comes and you want me just to slit that throat of yours, you just let me know. I mean, you won't feel a thing.
I'll keep that in mind. I appreciate it, Joe.
Oh, we'll lick you up good first.
We'll probably have to fight it again, though, if that happens, because it looks like when it killed our friend here, it came out and attacked me.
Okay.
Tell you what, Amian, I will, me and my walking stick will walk behind you so that I can keep an eye on any changes to your gait if you start walking like someone more of my age than someone of your age.
All right. I appreciate that.
Okay, so is there anything else you want to do around this shack or with Irving Slayton before you push on?
Are we burying the poor man?
Your call.
I mean, it's kind of unsanitary. I mean, things are going to come by and eat him if you just leave him here like this.
I could just burn him.
Put him in the water, weigh him down.
Louisa will go over and say some words over the man and leave everyone else to decide what plans they want to make for his remains.
Okay.
Did he have like shovels or anything like that around his?
There's some tools around. It's a bog, so everything's kind of wet and stuff here. You know, like you can see like the rancid cranberries and things that are kind of float around here and there. It's not well kept. You can tell it's in some disrepair. But there are some tools. Yeah.
I'll probably do a little bit to help bury him as much as I can.
So we'll say we'll kind of montage, finding a place that's not necessarily overwhelmed with water, digging a very deep hole. So it's going to take a little time. It's going to take some of the morning. Louisa, you're saying some words. Some of the guys are helping in on kind of digging the hole. And, you know, by we'll say mid to late morning, hole's been dug. He's been laid to rest. Words have been spoken over him. Maybe you put a little marker there just in case he's got kin you can refer him to. And you are all set. It is, however, at this time, mid to late morning, when that storm comes in. And it isn't just any storm. As it starts getting a little bit closer, like that kind of general mist that seems to cover the fens kind of gets brushed and thrown away. You start seeing like these big surges in some of the water where the cranberries have been sitting. And you can see, and well, you can probably smell it first, the smell of kind of rot and corruption kind of wafting in these cold breezes. And all of you are experienced enough to know a blight storm when you see one. and you can see the rain is pouring down. You see a bolt of lightning erupt, and it seems to take out this crooked, gnarled tree off at the far edge of his bog. And you can see it sweeping in, sweeping in. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to keep this really simple. As this storm rages, you guys got one place to keep shelter, which is this crooked little shack. However, as the wind and the rain start to hit it, you feel the walls start falling down. You feel the kind of the ceiling is threatening to kind of like just rip right off. It's just like corrugated metal that's getting ready to fly off. So everyone give me as like a little quick encounter, something you're doing to try to help keep the shack from just collapsing inward and you all getting swooped over by this storm. Any order. What is everyone doing?
Well, I got
to
a
help?
question, which might be my action as well.
Yeah.
Do we look this place over well enough to know whether or not it's got a root cellar, which would be pretty common?
It does not have a root cellar. You're confident. Yeah, not these parts digging anything into the earth. And Cletus, you would know this too. Putting stuff into the earth and the cussfoot fens is a way of turning into strange things.
Well, hell, I figure, we got some of them would take some tools, right? And you got the walls trying to come down, just get a big wide tool, put it up against the wall and just lean my, not insignificant weight into the wall.
Okay.
While he's doing that, I'll bolt a tool into place around him.
Yeah, Joe, give me a repair test.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so remember, quick encounters, it's basically like
I'm gonna Benny that.
a less severe dramatic task.
Well, it's a 4, it's a success, but if it would benefit from being better, I'll Benny it.
It's not, I don't think it is a success, because it's, I think, right? Because you have to roll. Oh yeah, it is, because you have a modded
I have a +2
skill,
for
+2. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're good. Yeah, so that is a success. You're fine. So yeah, you do manage to help kind of reinforce some of the doors kind of pushing itself in. Okay, how else are people helping?
Got repair. Maybe I can try and fit some pieces of it back together or something.
Yeah, you can see like the little chunks of the roof start flying off, and so like little bits of rain start falling into this tiny little shack, and so you're quickly kind of going through trying to patch as you go. Go ahead and roll that repair test there, Dan.
Oof.
You want a Benny?
Guess so. Why not?
Because I'm taking all of them now before the real
Just
thing.
as a reminder, we have somewhere between 31 and 42 boosts because we have a very, very, very generous audience. So in ones or twos at a time, we have some.
I'll take one of those
additions
boosts
there.
too.
Okay.
Does he have like chicken wire or like any sort of like metal wire for fencing anywhere around the outside of his house or anything?
He does. You'd have to brave going outside to grab it, but yeah, he does seem to have some kind of like reinforcement wire. It's scrap, but it's probably what you would want.
I think I want to get that so we can use that to like fasten things better inside.
Okay. So you don't have to necessarily worry about running a repair, but what I would say is go ahead and give me like an athletics test to run out, grab this as like the wind is like is threatening to like push you away or slam you into the side of the shack, or and in some cases like you're seeing like the chance like you're right underneath this little tiny overhang and you might get hit by some stuff.
All right, I'm gonna take a boost, so that's a +1.
Yep.
Okay. 4.
Okay, it's the door. You open the door just enough. You squeeze through. You're probably the only one who can squeeze through. You're so slender. You squeeze on out, looking for extra materials outside. Immediately, like your shirt's flapping, and you kind of have to veer around the shack at this point. At one point, you take this horrible gust, and it looks like it's going to lift you up and kind of throw you into the bog, into that water down a little bit below. But you manage to grab hold of this kind of this little sort of jutting piece of metal. You keep yourself sturdy. However, you grab that chunk of metal, and as you walk back, you start feeling a little strange, Amian. Amian, go ahead and roll a spirit test.
God damn it. Okay.
Or
Can I take I want to take a +1 on that as well.
This is contested, by the way, so just so you know. You just roll what you think your best is. And I will do the
Probably gonna
same.
take that 8.
Oh, I'm so sorry to do this to you, Joe. I really am. Okay. Joe, roll a d6.
Oh no. Okay. 5.
Okay. You feel like something sort of explode on your face. You just feel like this ripping of your skin. You start to feel almost like you're going to vomit, and a bit of spittle comes out. And then you feel like your eyebrow just suddenly just kind of push up just ever so slightly, and your eye feels like it's almost going to pop out of its socket. You stumble back in to the shack, and as Amian stumbles in, everybody, the normal, young, bright-eyed, beautiful young face of Amian, he looks pockmarked. He has these boils that have exploded on his face, and little bits of ooze are starting to drip down him. One of his eyes appears like it's bulging out of its socket, while the other, it's like this horrible, hideous sty. You've taken on, Amian, the ugly hindrance. I'll go ahead and drop it on your sheet for you. And you don't feel too well. You feel a little sickly. Your stomach is kind of bothering you a little bit. Everything's kind of rolling. And as he's standing there looking at you, maybe you're bracing against the wall a bit. The rest of you just watch as on his arm, these little bits of blisters and pustules form and then burst almost instantly.
Joe pulls out his knife and looks at him and says, Now?
I got it for right now. It's okay.
I don't think it's okay anymore. I think I should try to do whatever I could do. I know there's a storm coming, but unfortunately, I do not think we should wait much longer there. Not for superficial reasons, but I worry what is happening to
I got the chicken wire.
That's where I'll go get that put up. You just, shout at the devil, get him out.
I think it's a good time to try that.
All right. So what would I be rolling to try to
before you roll? I can buff you some too with that boost trait.
Sweet.
All right. So you want to try to do this yourselves? Okay.
It would appear
Use
we do
those
not have time to
modifiers
wait.
too.
That's perfectly fine to do. Okay, so there are all rules for this in Holler, just so you know, so I'm not just making this up. I'm going to add one little wrinkle so that everybody else has something to do too. But an exorcism is, if you determine it's needed, basically there's a difficulty level that's set dependent upon the type of demon, etc. But it is a single-person dramatic task. So in this case, if you're performing it, you're the lead exorcist, so to speak. You get to use either occult or faith, but there's a -2 penalty by default. And then the difficulty for the task is set by the shift boss, by myself. And so with this, since we're shortening things, normally this would be like a 4-round thing. We're going to shorten it to 2 rounds. And so basically, at the end of 2 rounds, that means 2 rolls, Louisa. You're going to need 3 tokens to be successful at this. So that's 1 success and 1 raise. Is essentially what you need. Now, there's also a storm that's happening, and the whole shack is threatening to kind of collapse in. People can support Louisa if they want. But I'm going to say that there's this other thing that still needs to take care of. So we're going to do parallel tasks here. 1 to do the exorcism, and 1 to ensure this whole thing does not collapse in on you guys from the storm while this exorcism is happening. Does that make sense? Everyone kind of clear what we're saying? Okay. Yeah. So if you choose to, if you want to help with the exorcism, then that means that you're not participating in trying to keep the whole thing. But you are able to lend support to Louisa. So everyone can kind of just decide for themselves, or however you want to decide who's doing what.
I'm going to be sure to disarm myself of everything before we start this, because I don't know if it will make me like go ballistic or something. So I'm going to like take my knife and my shotgun and like toss it over into the corner.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for that.
I'm gonna make sure to get them that scrap you pulled in off you. I'll go take care of that, Amian. You gonna be fine. You got this.
Yep.
I don't know anything about this occult
It'll work out.
jumbo faith stuff, so I'm just going to help keep everything together.
Okay. So Joe and Cletus are working on the hut, and then Doggett, and then again is Louisa and Amian exorcism, and then what would you be doing, Doggett? Which one do you want to help in on?
I'm assuming that my boost slower trait would play into helping with the exorcism.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah, of course.
Okay. Hoping to improve the faith with liquor, because that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Wine.
Kind of does. Okay. So in terms of like, so then in terms of the tasks, that means that we're going to do 2 rounds. Okay. And there's 2 separate things going on. There's the hut, ensuring that stays intact. And that's just going to be after, basically each round. So there's 2 people participating. It's Cletus and Joe. Doggett, you're helping with the exorcism, you said?
At least for a while.
Okay. So Cletus and
Since
Joe.
the boost trait's kind of like just like a 1-turn sort of thing.
You can just give that to her. Or was that a spell? Is that what you mean?
It's a spell, yeah.
How long does it last?
It's for 5 turns.
Okay.
So does that boost from like a D10 to a D12? Mechanically?
It depends on how successful I am.
Ah, I see.
Okay. So for the exorcism, you need 4 tokens after 2 rounds. For the hut, you're going to need... what is it? There's 2 of you. So that's 4 tokens. Also 4 tokens after 2 rounds. Actually, that's not right. There's 3 tokens after... 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 tokens after 2 rounds. So it's a little easier to do the hut. Okay, so let me just throw you all then into initiative so we can get the order going. And we'll move on. Okay, same rules apply as always. If you get a club, you have a complication, -2, etc., etc. If you try to do something, you have a -2 on whatever you're doing. If you fail, the whole task fails. So in the case of like the hut, that means like the storm knocks you all over. In the case of the exorcism doesn't work and something bad's going to happen. Is kind of is what I'll say. Okay.
Of course, Doggett drew a club.
You can always choose not to do anything. You're not required to do anything, so you can always just pass. It just means there's not as many chances to do it. So Amian, we're going to start with you. You're you're participating in the exorcism. You're essentially assisting. You're supporting Louisa in this. Is sort of where you're at. So that would be like you roll some kind of check, and that would give her a +1. So what would Amian be doing as you're laying down, getting ready for this exorcism that Louise is going to perform?
I'd like pull my shirt up and like bite it in my mouth, and then try and like sit back on my hands and stuff, and like restrain myself just with my body weight as much as I could.
Okay. Roll. What are you thinking? Athletics? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably that.
And if you succeed, she gets a +1 on her roll.
Okay. We have like a ton of pluses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do.
Okay, I'm gonna burn another one.
Okay.
5.
Okay. So we'll say it's a combination of maybe you like getting some rags, tying yourself down here and there, and then just finding things to sort of stack on top of you to ensure that like nothing's happening. The whole while this like shack is shaking left and right. You can see the walls kind of bend in and then bend out. You hear the sounds of the wind just pelting the rain. You can see a few times through some of the seams in the walls, these rancid cranberries start flying through, and chunks of nasty water right on the ground where these floorboards have grown rotten with wetness. But you kind of bear yourself down. And so, Louisa, when it comes to your turn, which is now, you can roll your first check. Describe what you're doing. what this exorcism looks like for us, Louisa, this first round of it. And then you'll get a +1 from Amian. But because you have a -2, it's, comes out to -1.
Okay. So Louisa is making sure that Amian had something, to kind of to bite down on. And she kind of has her kind of little crosses she always has with her that she's just kind of rubbing. And you just kind of see her just kind of straighten up. She's kind of set the walking stick off to the side for a little bit as she kind of kneels down. And you just see her kind of lay hands on, kind of close her eyes, kind of head uplifted a bit. And you just kind of hear her, this one here is too young. He's just getting strong. He's saving all of us. We need him to carry on. We need this gone from him. Gone you shall, you will. And you just kind of hear her voice just kind of getting louder and louder. And she is going to roll a d10 for her faith.
Okay.
+1.
So before any boosts or anything
another
like that,
+1.
you're a -1 because between Amian's support and the -2 just for the system. So you're at
Right.
-1. So
And then I'll go straight with audience assistance. So it'll be a
Sounds
straight
good.
roll.
Okay.
And I am going to need to Benny that because that is a 1 and a 2.
Oh, wasn't it so close to a crit fail?
I know.
Oh
That's the
my
second time
God.
tonight I've
We're
rolled a
gonna
1 and a
have some
2.
Cronenberg action, if that was the case.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be that scene from The Thing. Except instead of a
right.
dog head, it's Amian's head coming out of the tentacle.
So that is an 8. And so you just hear her voice is just sort of crescendoing. You will, because she almost started off kind of like rational kind of asking. And then you just sort of hear her tone just kind of switches to like, you will leave. You will leave this young man. You will leave. And her voice just keeps going up and up and up.
As you're going through that chant, you're seeing like his body shift and move, and you hear almost the sounds of like his joints almost like getting pushed to the point of breaking. You're hearing the cracking of knuckles. You're hearing sort of the cracking of joints themselves. Amian's, you're feeling intense pain. Your back is kind of arching. Your shirt kind of pops open ever so slightly, and you can kind of see things kind of swimming around, like almost what looks like these points are starting to stick out, where like the antlers of this creature are trying to sort of stay in, and you're trying to pull out.
I think it's good pain.
So that means you would get +2. So you've got 2 tokens already, Lucis. You've made really good progress. Doggint, be your turn. You have a club. So anything you roll, you could choose to pass, or you can try to do something. Anything you roll is going to be at -2 just because of the club. And if you fail, the entire endeavor fails. That is the nature of a club on a dramatic task.
This might be that one time I don't do anything.
Okay. You're still just pulling the ingredients out. You're not necessarily ready to
Just
mix
like,
them yet.
want some water?
Well, I gotta have some for myself first.
Yep.
Okay. We go to Joe. Joe, you have a diamond. You're working on trying to keep the storm from knocking this hut down. You're feeling all these repairs and reinforcements you guys have made are the only reason this shack hasn't been blown away already, but it's still pushing against the storm is. What do you want to do?
Cletus, that wall back there, that one's not load bearing. Just break it up. Get them beams leading up against this one. This one's got to stand.
Okay. So
So yeah, basically sacrificing a wall where there's no pressure and it's not load bearing to get timbers to put down, hold up
that
the other
sounds
wall.
great. Yeah, I mean, a repair
want,
sounds repair is
repair?
totally fine. Yeah.
Boom.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Dear gosh. The explosion.
Finish.
Did you just
Yeah,
get all
that
of them just this one round?
Wow.
He's got You got 2 tokens that you needed to succeed on this one. You still just need the 1. But yeah, you
Thanks
you
for
kind of
carrying my weight.
pull
15.
down the boards, and you immediately start kind of throwing some away that are rot, others that are good, and kind of affixing them here and there to kind of keep some of them seams from ripping open. Little bits of water are dripping in here and there, but not in any great severity. And then we go to Cletus. Cletus, you also have a club. It's up to you whether you want to do anything.
We've already got 2 out of our 3, and both of us have to go next round to think. In general, Cletus is following along with what he's saying, but I'm not going to take an actual action myself because I'll feel real terrible to go and sabotage this here fine work he's put together.
Ultimately, we see you like helping Joe out doing what he's doing and not necessarily taking on a different task. Okay, so great first round. Good to go. Amian is kind of in pain, but Louisa, it's a very strong demon, whatever's inside of him. But you're managing to you can kind of feel that malignancy inside, and you're trying to kind of wrap the healing light around and sort of pull him out in some way. Let's go to the next round. Doggett, we lead off with you. Diamond.
All right, this time I can do some alcohol magic.
So you're pouring out little cups, and you're doing the patting thing like they do to doctors, except it's just booze, and she's absorbing it with
straight to the brain.
I put it on Louisa's forehead because I know she won't drink it, but she doesn't know it's kind of soaking through her skin.
Okay,
perfect.
That's so good. No penalty. You're good to go. Roll however you like.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take 2 of those boosts though.
All right.
I needed them. Wish I could have done better though. It's just a regular success, so you'll go up a die size.
So yeah, you go up. So you can do that. So you get your basic. That's basically you're effectively supporting her, and you're getting an increased die size. So does that put you to a D12?
It does put me to a D12.
Wow.
Let me double check because by spending an extra power point, I can target 1 more person. I don't know if I have to boost the same trait. So if I have to boost the same trait, then that won't be helpful.
Yeah, nobody else is rolling faith.
Okay, you can think about that.
Unless you want Amian to have faith that what I'm doing will succeed.
Oh, it just says the power may affect more than 1 target for 1 additional power point each.
Okay.
It feels like it's probably supposed to be the same thing.
I don't know the answer. If you know, Jeremy, shout it out. Otherwise, I don't mind you just picking a different thing.
I mean, if it doesn't say, because the power lets you choose which one you boost. It's a good question, though.
Does it tell you which one to choose and then how many people it affects, or does it tell you how many people that it affects and then?
So basically, the power allows a character to increase or decrease a target's trait, either an attribute or a skill. And then if you get an extra success, it can expand to another person.
That's true. So you're probably choosing the thing first, and then
that was
extra success increases by 2 steps. By spending additional points, I get to add additional recipients.
Yeah, I do think.
Sounds like it's the
I
same
would.
thing.
Yeah, I would go with what Melissa was saying. It's probably faith.
Okay, and that's why I wanted to get like a ruling on it real quick before I dumped a bunch of power points on it. So
that works.
Good.
Save your points. Okay.
Yep.
Amian, you're up. You're thrashing around on this table. Maybe you have some control of your body. Maybe you've got that sort of momentary your mind kind of drifts a bit. And you kind of lose control. It's now more than before that you feel something fighting with you for control. Like you go to sort of move your head one direction and you realize it's just not doing what you want. You're feeling something press underneath your throat and at your chest. You're feeling these pains, like you're seeing movement that is not movement that you're telling your body to do, and you can feel this kind of voice sort of eke away at your conscious mind. So if you want to try to support her, though, if you can think of a good idea, go for it. I will say that with the body kind of raking around and you have already kind of like pinned yourself down. We'll say a -1 to whatever you roll, but if you want to still try to support her, I think you can do that.
I want to taunt it. Use the taunt skill and just yell at it and like, this is my body, and like try and get it focused more on like what I'm saying rather than fighting off of whatever like she's doing with her exorcism.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, roll that taunt test. Describe what it is you say, and we'll see how it goes. I love it.
All right, definitely gonna take a bonus on. So you said it's a -1, so I'll just roll it without a modifier then to take a +1. And I'll say like, I was just working on getting this body strong. You're not taking it from me now.
It's true. He's been doing his squats.
I got strength in me I never knew I had. All right, I got a success. 5.
Okay. Yeah. With the 5, that's another +1 for your roll, Louisa. So you've got your increased die size. You got a +1 from Amian, as you can feel like whatever Amian's doing to actively fight against this thing is distracting it, and in doing so, it's making it a little bit. You're feeling like you're able to kind of dig deeper and deeper into like the soul of Amian to try to find this malignancy. Okay. We go to Joe. Now, Joe, you're sitting on a club, so that means a complication for this round. What that means is that anything you attempt to do is at -2. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to, but if you do attempt something, it's -2, and if you fail, the shack's coming down.
All right, so Cletus did not roll a clubs this time, so we're going to swap. Where I'm yelling at Cletus, I need some more timber, Cletus, timber.
I'm on it. Oh,
Okay.
I only got 2 hands.
So yeah, I'm not doing anything.
Okay, so you're passing. All right, Cletus, you succeed on this. You guys are good to go. What are you doing?
I think I might take one of them boosts. And I'm going to do exactly what he's saying. I'm bracing them timbers and I'm putting my bulk into it athletically like.
Okay, yeah. It's just brute force. It's not like, figuring out where the seams are. It's just brute force, kind of holding the wind back, basically. Yeah, go for it.
He's got the brain muscle. I got the muscle.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I got 1 success.
That's all you needed.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all you needed. And so, like, this huge gust of wind pushes up against you. Feel this, like, spurt of rancid air, like, sneak in between the seams, and you quickly rush up and you smash the board against it.
You sure
Keeping
Double D
the
ain't
light.
here?
I guess technically he is. He's still sleeping or something. He left them outside. I'm sure he's fine.
He just passed out right then and there.
And then, because the system apparently understands drama, Louisa, you're the last to go.
I
That's
did
great.
see that.
Good job. So yeah, you're rolling faith again. -2 is base difficulty. Amian gave you support, so it's just -1.
Yeah.
You've got your
And then
increased die size from Doggint.
I will thank the audience for their support to make it a straight roll.
Okay.
I have 1 Benny left in case I need it. So I am. So you kind of see, kind of coming over from, kind of earlier, that she kind of is noticing that, she kind of declined the drink from Doggint. But kind of while she was kind of focused on what she was doing, she didn't necessarily notice what Doggint was doing. But she's feeling a little bit refreshed a bit. And so she actually kind of takes her walking stick and kind of stands up a bit with the walking stick. And she kind of is kind of tapping Amian with the walking stick. And she just says, we drive from Amian, whatever you may be, unclean spirits or powers or invaders or legions, we cast you out.
Let me put some drama. Wait. I just want to put some drama in this. If you crit fail,
Yes.
Amian explodes in viscera. Just want you
There's
Now
no way
you
that
can
can happen,
lie.
though.
Now,
You
thankfully,
can lie and say that's what happens, because no one's going to know.
I was rolling a d12 thanks to the moonshine that that's soaked in through my pores, and so I rolled an 11.
Okay.
Nice.
So this is what's going to happen. You're like Joe and Cletus, maybe even Doggin, once he's kind of finished, concocting the brew for you. You see them in each corner. We even see like Double D get up and help out here and there, and they're just kind of holding the shack at bay. You hear the sounds of like these hurricane force winds just washing through. You see the water of the bog, which has risen from the rain, is starting to seep underneath the door that's coming in, and even some of the walls here and there. All of you, even though you're hearing the sounds of like the crackling thunder, the lightning flashing time to time, the rancid smell of either it might be the blight, it might be the bog, you're not sure. You hear the floundering of Amian. You hear him like sometimes he's like shouting these random threats and insults. As you look over your shoulder, those of you who are helping, you see Louisa like in deep concentration, like just this sudden glow around her that's casting this beautiful light across this nasty shack. And you watch as like it almost seems like something rips free from Amian. Like it almost looks like it's like something just bursts out of it. And something does, but not so much physically as you see this head just come from where his chest is. You see these massive, crooked, painful antlers kind of dripping with some sort of like spiritual phosphorescence that's just like dripping down, almost like it disappears in the middle of the drop. And climbing up out of this thing with these horribly pained, with rusted nails kind of driven through some of the legs, that nasty, crooked, mutated antlered creature steps out. You see it like kick free from the table. The table goes kind of rumbling down to the ground. Amian, you're fine. As you're stumbling, you quickly check your chest. No, you're fine. Everything's there. It's okay. It's okay. You still have the pustules where they burst and the blisters, but you're okay. And this thing, as it stands there, it kind of moves almost like it just slides through a beam as if it's not even physical, and then it starts to shake. All of you watch as like chunks of swamp juice start flying off, and what looks like spiritual and ethereal at first, as it starts to hit, you see it begin to manifest. Cletus, you see it as this nasty green-brown sludge begins to drip down on top of the fingers where your hand's covering it. Doggin, you feel something whack the back of your head, and you look around, and this creature is like manifesting into physical, corporeal shape.
Good job.
And so now I'm just going to go ahead and go into initiative here for this thing.
Oh, crap.
Good job, Louisa. I'm so proud of you for getting it out of Amian. Because why? Why didn't you tell us to get right here in front of us?
I didn't know.
Oh, God.
Forgot about that. Also, I'm disarmed.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So let's go to the next round. We're already there. So it's a very small space. Everyone can move wherever they want, and no problem. Like everything's within distance. But yeah, this thing has spiritually pulled from Amian's body and corporeally shaped itself inside of this small hut, and is shaking much like a dog, throwing this nasty sludge in all sorts of directions. Next round, Joker. Everybody gets a Benny. Louisa, you're
right.
first. You go before this thing.
I needed that.
Yeah, and you get +2 on your rolls and everything, Louisa. What do you want to do?
Right.
As this thing it's now, you're convinced it's moving to the point. It's like you can see it almost bump up against the very pillar that's right in the middle of this shack, the only pillar in the central part of the shack that's keeping it up anymore, and it nearly knocked it over. What do you want to do?
Okay, so what Louisa is going to do is, because she is not intended to be a frontline fighter, but for 5 rounds, she has a benefit on her faith roll. So she is going to go over to Cletus. And she is going to smite a weapon. So whichever weapon it looks like Cletus is likely to pull out.
We just put up his hands.
All right. That's so still rolling a d12 because of the little extra that I got. So she, and you see her like almost forget to kind of walk with the walking stick for a minute, and she's gonna just her eyes are wide because she was about to kind of like breathe a sigh of relief that her exorcism was successful, and so then she just looks just
I think it
completely
worked.
fearful. And so she's gonna kind of wrap her hands around yours and just say, I don't know how much more I have left in me, but I believe in you. I believe in you.
I believe in you too, Miss Louisa.
And I rolled a 12, so I get to roll my d12 again. So that is a 16 on
Oh
my
dear.
smite.
Okay.
So that means that your fist damage is increased by +4.
You hear that, you son of a bitch? You try to kill Amian, you gonna get these hands.
And then she would like to continue past Cletus and like hide.
Hide in a corner or something.
Yes.
There ain't anywhere to hide.
I figured.
It's gonna go. Okay.
Oh, crap.
So as it is the
That's fun.
second. It's not. We're in proper initiative now, so it's not dramatic test stuff anymore. So I'm just gonna roll randomly who it's gonna attack. It's gonna go right after Amy and the kid that it just burst free from. As Louisa
Makes sense.
kind of drifts into the corner, lights up Cletus's hands with this holy power. It's gonna reach back and it's gonna see Amian's probably kind of by himself, as Doggett and Joe are probably still trying to keep the wall at bay. And so the demon kind of turns around and it's gonna charge, and it's going to try to take out Amian. I'm going to do a wild attack, as it's going to kind of go a little crazy. So that's a D12.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
And so plus
I
2
just
to
saved
attack and
him.
damage.
I'd rather
Well-
damage come from outside my body than inside.
I have good news and bad news. The bad news is that I did roll a 12 on my D12
Oh,
for a
shit.
total of 21. The good news is that it was on to the hit roll and not on the damage rolls, which could have been way worse. So it will hit you. And so it's going to do, this time as it's kind of charging in at you, it almost looks like it's going once more for its, like trying to dive back in, but something happens and it won't let it. And so physically this time, as you're, climbing up from where you fell off the table, this time it actually is going to drive you back and impale you with its antlers against one of the walls. So this is going to be strength plus D8. Oh dear. Where'd that go?
I did taunt it too. So
You did.
That's true.
It's going to be a total of only 10 points of damage. Not a great roll, actually.
Okay.
What is your toughness?
5.
Okay, so that would be
So-
one wound right now. So you're shaken
Okay.
with one wound. If you want to
And then I
burn
can
a
roll
Benny.
a vigor.
Yeah, so you burn a
Right.
Benny to attempt to soak by
Okay.
rolling vigor. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
I'll
goodness
do
for that
that.
Joker and getting everybody back a Benny.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a +1 on that.
Sure.
Got it.
Oh, you're good.
Ooh.
Oh, sweet.
right, man.
10.
The antlers,
Okay.
like strangely enough, because you're probably the most slender and the smallest, like they come charging at you, and it looks like it's going to hit you dead on, and it just flanks either side of you. You squeeze down, and it smashes into the wall.
Imagine he's like,
Yeah, and like you're just get small. I'll tell you what, high or low, Amian?
hi.
Okay. It's low.
Duh.
The wall comes down, goes flying down. You and it kind of get pushed a few feet out in a way. You're not hurt. You don't take any damage, but the wall has come down. The ceiling has started to crumble a little bit. You and it are now a few feet out. The rain of the Blightstorm is coming down upon you. We'll worry about that when it comes to your turn. Joe, you are up. Craziness is transpiring.
Well, when craziness transpires, the best you can do is shotgun it out.
Okay. So you reach down, all your things are within reach. Grab your shotgun. It's pushed outside the walls and the ceiling are starting to rumble and fall. But you can see it's managed to push Amian outside, taking one of the walls down, ceiling starting to give, rain is starting to come in. You're getting that gust of the fog, but you still have a shot at it. So, go ahead and roll.
Seven.
Okay, so as long as you're staying at a distance with that one, which means you're not going to get like the better damage, that's a hit. If you were to get up where it would be its parry, and you would not hit. So we'll say, since we didn't really declare it ahead of time, we'll give you the 2d6. So roll 2d6 damage.
I'm not sure how to do it from that, so I'm just going to roll it on the screen.
Yeah, that works.
Seven.
Okay, 7 points. You fire at this thing. You hit it. You see chunks of that sludge that covers its fur and its hindquarters kind of move off a bit to the side, but you don't see them puncture and get through, as that does not break its toughness.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Amian, your turn. So you are now getting coated by rain of the blight storm. So what you're going to need to do first, you'll be able to take your turn in a sec, but before we get to that, we're going to say the rain's coming down. Why don't you roll... what is it? I'm trying to double check.
Is it
it's a
spirit?
spirit roll. It's spirit, yeah.
Okay. All right. I got
Here's
some
a-
good spirit.
Okay.
7.
Okay, so you will resist the blight for the rest of this encounter. So nothing to worry about here. You're good to go. You're getting coated, and you can take your turn as normal.
Awesome. I'm going to try to get away from it and run to where I threw my weapons in the corner.
Okay, so you're running back inside, getting out of the rain,
Yep.
going for your weapons. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Do I need to do like an agility to kind of untangle myself from it or something?
Sure, that's fine. Go ahead and give me that.
Okay.
Or athletics is fine. Something like that. Oh, gosh.
7
Yeah.
again.
It like almost rams you down to the ground, but like you're between the antlers on either side. You just do the classic kind of grab its head, and you like hop over top of it and kind of do this leapfrog action, climbing over this nasty, whatever is coating this thing is the most hideous thing.
Just gagging a little bit.
Yeah. And as you clamber down, you just miss the shot of Joe as it hits it in the ass, and then you clamber down and you run inside. Okay. Sounds great. So now this thing is the only thing out here, and we will turn to Cletus, whose fists are glowing. What'd you like to do, man?
I ain't never been called a bright man. I've been given a clear purpose here. So as it's done turned around a little bit, trying to mess with Amian, I'm going to go charging at it, go straight for the head like a running bulldog. Just going to try and drive him into the dirt.
Okay, man. Go for it. Now, there's not so much dirt out here, but you are, like, the shack was built on a slight elevation, and a lot of that water is starting to come up, but you might be able to knock him into, like, the heavier bog where, like, those rancid cranberries are floating.
Yeah, so I'm going to do me an unarmed attack.
Go for
Try
it,
and
man.
hit him up in the head. I might take a bonus. People don't mind. In fact, I might take 2.
Yep.
Please do.
I think I'll do that. It seems like a good idea.
This thing is tough.
How's an 11 do?
That does enough. Not a raise, actually, but that is a hit.
Okay.
8 parry on this.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
so close to a raise. That's okay.
Yeah. It's up to you.
Hey, no, that's okay because I've got my +4 for called shot to the head and +4 for the smited
smite.
hands.
Okay, man.
So I'll toss up +8 on the end of this damage. 18.
Yay.
hit you some. Trying to turn my newly found kin into a stupid bent up piece of you. I ain't having it.
Okay, just double checking one thing. You said you were going for the head, and like you don't suffer the penalty, right? Like that because you
No, because I've got the gouger talent. So long as I'm using unarmed attack, I can take cold shots.
I just wanted to double check.
Just run up, grab it at the base of the antlers, leap up in the air, put my full body weight down into it, drive its head down.
All right, I will. Yeah, I'll use one of its bennies as that would do damage to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll to try to soak a little of that. Let's see. It's D12. Man, this guy's got so many D12s. All right, I got one. All right, so I'm gonna take one wound from it.
Okay.
And it's shaken, obviously. Okay, but I didn't take that second wound at least, so yay. Okay.
Yay.
All right, everyone's happy. And then we come to Doggint. Last to go. Things have changed. Roof is collapsing.
It's time to go nuts.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to do a multi-action because I have a trait that lets me calculating. If I have a 5 or less on initiative, I can reduce penalties by 2, including by multi-action. So I basically negate the multi-action penalty.
Okay.
Nice.
And then I have rock and roll now, so I'm going to rapid fire the Tommy gun on 2 turns.
Wow.
Just going to go nuts.
Okay, buddy.
So I might need a little help
Should never
remembering
do
how
you guys
to
that.
rapid fire the gun, but I assume I'm just going to roll a few times.
So you roll one wild die. Okay. Or excuse me, one ace die, or one, whatever it's called. It's called
Just a regular roll
the
first.
D6. The D6 you roll one time.
Yeah.
And then you roll your attack, like whatever your attack die would be multiple
2 more times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just do one regular attack and then just manually roll the shooting skill twice.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Then-
So go ahead and roll your
Shooting. Where are you?
shooting ones.
D8.
So you got a 7 on the wild die. So it's going to be added. So it's a 12 on the first shot of the rapid fire. Oh, dear God. Roll again. He just exploded. 16 on the second.
Okay.
And 11 on the third. Okay. Obviously, all of those hit. So that was... So it was 16 and 11. What did I say the first one was?
First one would have been
12?
what was it? 7, 5, 12?
Yeah, so 12, 16, and 11. 12, 16, and 11. So all of those then... All of those are raises, right? Because you're shooting a gun. So yeah, all of those are raises.
Yes.
So go ahead and roll
Awesome.
damage with raise.
All right. Damage. Not very high.
Okay. So for the first shot, it has a similar effect to what Joe, the it hits it, but you see it just doesn't pierce the hide enough. Roll the next one.
Try again.
Oh dear. Okay.
Oh dear, indeed.
So
14.
that would be enough to do 2 wounds to it. I'll use its second Benny to try and... Actually, wait, I should probably do that there. I'll just do it in the system. Okay, so I
Made sure to actually use the
one.
target thing this time.
So I soak 1 again. It still takes a wound, so it'll...
All right.
So it's at 2 wounds.
All right, let's hit him again.
Okay. So this one is good. That is its 3rd wound, and I don't have any more bennies
Wow.
on it. I'm not going to use my GM bennies on it. I'm just going to use its bennies, and so it's out of bennies.
All right. Time to shoot 3 more shots.
We can actually describe it. I mean, it's dead. That's it.
It's dead.
Yeah.
Oh,
go
well,
ahead.
shoot.
Describe.
I
your
assume I'm
kill,
like
man.
just her swinging around and just unloading into its ass.
That's exactly what
Oh
you
my.
do. The first couple of shots don't pierce, but then you just keep at it. As the gun goes off, and eventually the first couple of rounds don't pierce, but then you start seeing like the flesh kind of erupt as the bullets make contact, and then finally like a whole chunk of its ass has just been kind of wrenched free. Cletus, roll a spirit test as you've seen it. I'm just kidding. An ass get taken away, and then you see it just as it kind of stumbles and slides down, and it kind of flops into that bog and just splashes into it. The rancid cranberries flying everywhere, and it is dead. Well done, sir.
Nice.
In fairness, do I have to roll spirit check for being out in the rain?
Yeah, you do. I was gonna do that when we got around to your next turn, but yeah.
Gotcha.
I've been waiting to actually use calculating for so long.
You got it, man. That
That's
was a
pretty
great
nice,
time.
man.
That's a very cool one.
I still didn't even get to take the other shots.
Cletus, you're all right with a 10. You're coated in this rain, but you managed to sort of quickly get back underneath the cover.
Man, I'm
Hold
feeling
up.
so good. I'm gonna put my foot down on that skull and just yank one of these antlers off. Take
Sure,
it
you
for
can-
tries.
Nasty ass antler in your hand. It doesn't feel like an antler. It's like coated in something. It feels almost slick. But you rip it off and you go back inside. And we'll say that you guys are able to wait out the
I'm
blight
outside
storm.
with it as well. Is there like you said its face was kind of like peeled back and its like bone of its skull was exposed? Can I get like the top of its skull like jaw?
Yeah, so you already rolled for the blight thing, so if you want to brave it, that's fine. You go out there, you just sort of get the knife out quickly and do like this crude cut around and like kind of underneath the chin and just sort of wrench what you can free. And yeah, you crudely take a bit of its jaw and its face. Cletus, you have a bit of its antler. No problem.
Awesome.
Louisa is just going to breathe a huge sigh of relief because she had just about spent all of her energy on the first part of that. And then she wants to kind of go over and try to just look at this substance.
Okay.
Is that
So there's
something
there's
she can
bits
do?
on the wall, like there, so you can check that. But if you were to go investigate the corpse, you would have to roll for blight. But if you just check the stuff on the walls, it really just feels like swamp sludge. Like you see mix of some kind of like moss with some sort of sewage mixture. It smells like just awful as you have to like kind of throw it back down. But it doesn't seem to be anything like noteworthy, nothing like out of the ordinary. But it was just kind of coated in it, almost like that's just what it is. Like it's just part of itself. Maybe it sweats it, or maybe it's just part of its kind of natural state.
Naturally disgusting.
Exactly.
This creature definitely seems to be of this place, if that makes sense. It just
Gross.
it just oozes this area. Cletus, you said you've been here before. Bless you for that. This is
Man, this is a bit more gross than last time I was here. I mean, last time we had some of them bat ones, and then there's these ones that basically just look like a hill, woke up from a nap and decided to crush your head in. But this one's gross, man. This is above and beyond.
I am glad, Amian, that this did not spend too much time in residence in your insides.
Storm's still going on, right?
Me as well.
It is.
I'm glad we had a.
So Joe's yelling, "What you crazy people all doing out there? Get in here!"
I assumed we ran inside. Yeah.
We will
This will
say
make our way back
then.
in.
Yeah, well, with no more dangers, with the exorcism done, and you've managed to take out this demon, which is in fact a body demon, is what it's called. You took it out both in its possessed form and in its corporeal form. A couple of hours can pass. The storm rolls overhead. Without any more distractions, you're able to kind of reinforce the shack, and eventually the storm kind of dies out, kind of slowly tapers off, and probably by the afternoon, just before evening time, it kind of clears up as much as it ever clears up in the Cussfoot, but you're sure the blight storm is gone, and you all are kind of back and ready to do what you want. Amian, you still... I think you still have the ugly hindrance for a little while.
Okay.
It's not permanent; it's temporary, but you'll have it for a little bit as the sores and stuff heal.
I'm like, I look all better, right, guys? His face is still...
You look like a grown young boy with a bad case of acne.
What's really important is what's on the inside, or in this case, what is not on your inside anymore. I think the superficial stuff can wait a little bit. Just glad to see you healthy.
Glad we had someone of the faith that could do that.
Yeah, I agree. I gotta say, Miss Lewis, I know you don't normally partake, but I would love to raise a drink to you because the world is a better place with you around. You are the finest woman I've ever met. You cast out a demon. I mean, just
look
at you.
I did. I was just so caught up in the moment. I just knew it was something that needed to be done. But with some of the tests that we've done lately, I was wondering if my faith hadn't lost some of its shine a little bit, but I am so thankful.
Yeah, I mean, your house is built on stone.
Well, thank you. Thank you much. And you see her kind of stand a little straighter with that, but as the evening goes on, you definitely kind of, as you've seen her before, kind of retreat in the corner, and you kind of see kind of once the energy of everything dies, that she just, as always, just looks just a little bit older.
And so, yeah, the time passes. You all kind of wait out the storm, have a little celebratory drink. You feel decent. Eventually, it's late. It's probably afternoon because you buried the body in the morning, and then this kind of came in late morning, and then you've kind of been dealing with this for a few hours. Afternoons come around. You know it's probably going to take you moving through the fens. At least a few hours. You can't get to Terrapin by night. You're not going to be able to get there by dark. Not in the state of the fens. But it's kind of up to you. Do you guys want to push and start traveling there now and kind of camp out somewhere in the night, or do you want to wait out till morning and then leave again?
Maybe we don't push our luck at the demon house.
Yeah. Seems like that thing's been around here a while. Mm-hmm. It's like it had, that guy was infected. I don't know how many more there are.
I mean, he ain't the only demon that's been around these parts.
Yeah.
And anytime you take out one thing, there's what's that word? Vacuum. Like something else is going to come in.
Yep. Something else probably not going to be happy that died, maybe. Mm-hmm. Or very happy that it died.
Or very happy, yeah. Somebody else is going to get some new hunting.
Either way, don't want that. Yeah, might want to head out. Stay on the move.
Okay, so you guys maybe get a bite to eat, and then you head off. Who would we want to say is kind of taking the lead on this? Give me whoever wants to be the lead. Roll survival to kind of find the path going forward. One person can support if they want to give a hand on that. So two people can roll survival basically. It's kind of flooded currently, but you can wade through it. You'll be all right.
Yeah, I'll help trail break.
Okay. Go ahead and roll that survival. Yeah. That's all you need. 4 is good. Yeah, so you head on out. It's a little trickier. Before it was like these big patches of soggy ground, almost pond like. Now it's just like water covering everything everywhere. But you're able to kind of mark out some trees, kind of figure out directions, north, south, east, west, and you kind of vaguely know that you're kind of going in a northeasterly direction, and you kind of push off for a bit. And I've already rolled one. The travel is not particularly eventful. It's certainly not easy. Like you don't have like you're kind of getting a little bit exhausted, kind of pushing through over and over. But I would say that by nighttime, by the time in which it becomes like impossible to sort of really see anymore, you can kind of see the trees become a little fuller, and that usually is a sign that you're kind of getting closer and closer to Big Sandy, where the river actually is. You're not quite there, and there's so many like sump holes and sinkholes and stuff that you could potentially fall into without being careful, and all sorts of other dangers that you could run into with the fens that you probably camp out for the night. Let me just do another quick little roll here. Okay. Let's see. Anyone doing anything as you kind of camp down for the night? I'm just setting up a little random encounter thing.
Louise is going to be off doing some prayers off to the side by herself.
Okay.
Would it make sense to have someone like a keep watch or something?
Yeah, man,
Good.
that's a good idea.
I'll keep watch first shift anyway, and since we were just in a big old rainstorm, I'm going to attend to all my guns to make sure they're dry and nothing's all gunked up.
Okay.
I can
So
keep watch too if we want. Do we know who else wants to?
Yeah, I'll do a watch. I might sit and whittle at that antler, see if there's anything underneath all the gunk or if it's just gunk.
It's a gunkler.
so there's
Oh,
so
man. I would love to make a shiv called the gunkler.
Joe.
I was gonna give us a little extra boost here.
Yeah. So Joe, you're first up. You're kind of cleaning out some of your guns, making sure everything's fine, making sure none of the ammunition. He doesn't roll anything. I'm just sort of montaging through it. So you're okay, Dan.
Okay, I was gonna give us some dark side.
Oh yeah, go right ahead.
Watch.
Yeah, roll that up. But a few times you hear the sounds of something kind of sloshing around in the water. You see some of the high swamp water kind of starting to, it's receding a little bit, but you're still seeing these little currents. Nothing really seems to approach you. You guys have found a bit of a high point, set up a little bit of a fire, kind of keep the warm. There's a fog that's weaving in, but no storm, thankfully. And what little rain or moisture you get is really just the humidity of the area. When it kind of comes over the doggant who's passed around these little cocktails, and it's kind of made it a little bit easier for you all to see in the darkness, whereas before it was just these vague shapes and contours, silhouettes and things, whatever the fire gets. Now you're kind of being able to see a little bit deeper into the darkness. You're be able to see colors and more distinct shapes, textures, and things like that. But doggant, when Joe taps you in, you spend your time kind of looking around, getting your various moonshine equipment together, making sure nothing was shattered. You wake up Cletus. Cletus, you get up, you start whittling around. Cletus is actually you, sir. As you're trying to get underneath this grime, it's like, is this nothing but grime? You kind of hear a strange voice on the wind, a sound, like a little, like a whistling. Maybe it was wind for a second, but you didn't really feel like a heavy wind. And there's trees around here, but there's not a lot of vegetation on them, so you're not exactly sure what's making it. And when you look up, you see in the distance, about off to the east now, you see this kind of glowing green something or other. It's a ways away. It's not near you. But then you hear... What'd you like to do?
I shake the antler in its general direction and say, "You piss off now. Done killed one of your kin. Come around here, you get more same. Some bitch try to freak me out in the middle of the night. I ain't having it. I ain't chasing you either."
All you hear in response is just this vague and probably ill time, like it cuts you off a little bit. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep an eye on it, but I ain't going towards that thing.
Okay. All right. If you want, you can roll like a folklore. You might be able to identify what it is.
I might. I imagine folklore is one of them skills you have to choose to have, right?
Yeah. You could do common knowledge. I give you common knowledge. You've been in Cussfoot. We've established that as part of your
Okay.
backstory.
All right. I'll give it a try. Got me a whopping D4 of that. I think
Good
actually
enough.
we saw one of these last time we was here.
You
Well, I
did
seen you
that.
before. I remember you now. You didn't fool me last time. You didn't fool me this time.
So
You son of a bitch. You just stay there and I stay here.
maybe you didn't know what it was back then. I don't remember what our roles were. That was a while ago. But you probably have heard about it since. You've heard some stories. Maybe you told folks about it and they told you what it was. Like, damn good you didn't go kind of counting that thing. That there is a will-o-wisp.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they have, like, they're really just nothing more than just these bright greenish balls that are just kind of floating light. That's it. But they have this tendency to beckon folks to them, people, and kind of lure them out there as if, like, this fancy thing is somehow going to get to them. But, you know, there's weird tales here and there. Some people think, like, there's treasure, maybe. That might just be, you know, all just made up nonsense, right? But it's sort of like a siren song type of thing, but it's always it's like often in the fens, so people kind of get caught up in the bog or they get lost in a cave and they never come out, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of cautionary tales about don't go towards them. Don't go towards them. And
You
As long
thought,
as you
oh,
don't.
you can't trick me. I'm too smart for you.
And so you hear it a few more times, and then when you don't move, you see that green light just slowly start to drift away, back deeper into the fens. And the rest of the night passed uneventfully.
I'm going to tell everybody I scared the demon away. Through sheer force of will. I told him, get.
All right. So you all wake up refreshed, feel a little better. No storm throughout the night. Cletus tells you this story, and as some light starts to come through, not a ton, obviously, but you get more light. You do see more of these nice-looking trees, and vaguely you might even hear the sounds of the rushing water of Big Sandy. Pack up. It's maybe an hour, a little less, trudging through the swamp, which isn't as bad as it was when you started this journey. And you can see that right there in front of you. You see the silty, dark, rushing water of Big Sandy. Now, I'll ping you guys on the map. Or actually, no, we have a token, don't we? If you're back on the home page, you are on the southwestern side. Now, it's up to you which you guys want to go to. Terrapin's Corner, was referenced a few times, but then there's also where you actually are being tasked with going, which is Bonduran Asylum. Bonduran, so there's like this bend, essentially there's a split, first of all. So part of the Big Sandy heads eastward, and then part of it bends northward. So the northward bit kind of splits Terrapin's Corner and the Bonduran Asylum. So Terrapin's Corner is like on the northwest side of that kind of intersection of the streams, whereas Bonduran is kind of on the northeast side. So it's not really going to the same place close, but it's kind of up to you all how you want to handle this.
I don't know much about crossing rivers.
Yes, do we want to go straight there? Is anyone like hurt and need to rest up, or?
If anyone needed to do
No, I
that,
don't
you've
think
had
so.
time. So if anybody
Yeah.
wanted, I don't mind retroactive at this point. You guys have had plenty of time.
Did we want to talk to people in Terrapin's Corner to get more info about the asylum, or do we feel good about just going straight there?
I mean, I'm okay with winging it.
Yeah.
But
I see the point of maybe learning a thing or two.
I'm not sure that I would want to cross the river too many more times. Because if we go to Terrapin's Corner, we got to cross the river, and then we got to cross the river again to go to the asylum, and then cross the river again on the way out. So,
And
just
then
for that
again
reason.
on the way back to the
Exactly.
hills.
So, just for that reason, I might say go straight to the asylum. But I'm up for whatever you all are interested in doing.
I'm not going to argue with that logic. That sounds very sound.
So what was the decision? Sorry, I was trying to see if I could get a copy of the map. I can't. I don't have
We're
the
just gonna
overlay
go-
up, Griffin. My bad. I don't have the overlay up right now to be able to show the map.
I think we were
Going straight there.
crossing the river as few times as possible. We should be going
Okay.
straight to the asylum.
Okay. You guys have done this before. You've crossed Big Sandy. You know that it's a fairly thick and fast-moving river, very silty, and somewhat deep. And occasionally, there's some strange things that are swimming around in it. But if everybody can just make an athletics test to swim across, that's all I would really need right now.
And for what's worth, I do have myself a decent amount of rope. I might try and go first if I can. And
Okay.
maybe leave a rope behind me to help others out if needs be.
I'll hold.
Sounds
I'll hold
good.
the other end of it.
I know you will.
Glug, glug,
Man, you
glug.
strong, son.
Oh, goodness. I was thinking this was going to be Louisa and her walking stick. We're going to be the problematic one here as a 5 for Louisa.
Okay.
We
I'm
do
gonna.
have some.
Any issues for dogging?
I'm going to take a boost.
Okay.
I'm going to actually take 2 boosts.
I was gonna
So-
say, do we get any like mechanical thing if Cletus goes across first with the rope? and then
I'll make it so you
others?
don't get swept down the river and you just take fatigue. That's what I would say.
Okay.
Like you can grab onto the river, the rope, as opposed to getting like going into drowning rules, because we won't go into drowning rules in that case because the rope is there. So I'll say that.
Awesome.
The audience helped me swim across.
Yes, they did.
So some distant group of people, you just hear in the back of your mind, just people shouting you on. You can do it, dogging. So I think
Not
only.
that far, you lazy bastard.
So I think the only one who struggles across looks to be Joe. So Joe, take a point of fatigue. So it's just fatigue. You're able to grab the rope to keep from going under completely, but it is a bit of a pull. As it's just like the current here is really strong. Once or twice you feel something kind of wrap around your foot and kind of pull you down a bit, but you manage to hang on and kind of keep yourself up, strain your muscles a little bit.
What happens is Joe just right as he goes in, just takes a big old mouthful of water into his lungs, just right as soon as he gets in, and he's just
And it is
coughing the whole time.
atrocious. It's just like covered in slime and dirt and and you make it, but you do make it across, spitting, coughing the whole time. All of you are able to get across without a whole lot of trouble, just a little bit of trouble. Okay, you're able to, I would say at this point, you're able to kind of pull your rope back, roll back up, Cletus, and you kind of push forward, and it's not too far away. Just standing on the bank here as you get across, you see in the distance this massive, kind of crooked wrought iron fence. It's about 20 feet high, and you can see it just kind of goes on as far as you can see. And the ground here is very, very marshy, to the point where you can even see some undulation in terms of the height here and there, where parts of the fence have kind of dipped a little bit, parts of it haven't. And beyond it, like hidden in this sort of vague wall of fog, but you can see some points as well. You see, what you presume is Bondurant Asylum, which looks like my background, because that's Bondurant Asylum. So this is what you see from a distance. What would you guys like to do as you approach and scout it out or whatever?
Exactly what you just said, doing some scouting.
Okay, just tell me.
I have
So,
one.
is there something specific you're looking to figure out as you're scouting? Like, is there something you're looking for? That kind of thing.
looking for guard routines.
Okay. Joe, give me a notice for that. Anybody else
I
have
have
something they're looking
some-
for?
Might have something to do before anybody wants to roll real quick.
Hmm.
Because I can get us Farsight.
What's that do?
You have the
Let's us
coolest
see,
concoctions in your little
do.
bag there, Doggin.
I enjoy this character class a lot, actually, so far.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Can read
Sounds
lips
fun.
or read fine print up to a mile away.
What?
You can read
So-
fine print.
And it
up to a
also
mile. You're not
has-
illiterate, are you? Cast that on Cletus. Just look like a
That's
bunch
all
of
it
weird
does is
symbols.
you could just read.
Yeah. Squiggle, cross.
I need you to draw what you can see in the dirt, Cletus.
I'm trying squiggle, cross, circle.
Go ahead and roll that here.
Yeah, go for it.
And anybody else want to get this? Because I can spend more PowerPoints for more people, but I might just target Joe since he can read.
I mean, what I'll do is if you're doing anything like scouting where scouting at a distance would be helpful, I'll give you like a +1 on that, even though it doesn't have it. Like, I mean, if you can read writing at a distance, you can see bigger shapes
Oh my
too.
gosh.
Nice.
So if you burn the
With a
points,
raise,
you'll get
it
the.
also has the ranges for penalty, shooting, throwing, or other abilities affected by range.
Whew.
Wow.
You can pick off the guards from here.
That's crazy. Assuming you got a weapon that can reach.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. the
So does that
problem.
give me a
Oh, yeah.
mod to my notice roll or no?
Yeah, I'll give you a +1 to it.
+1. Okay, well, here you go. I see some things.
Okay. Is anybody else doing any sort of searching before I give info out? Is anybody else doing anything in particular?
I mean, mostly I'm
Fine,
looking
dude.
for places where like maybe lights aren't on versus the places where they are lit up. And I'm looking, obviously, I'm the kind of person that likes to climb up on a roof. I'm looking for like which side of the building has a good, way to get up on something.
Okay. You can roll a notice test as well.
Luisa's just
Amian
looking
or
for
Luisa?
doors.
Okay.
Just like where are the doors?
Same thing. So roll that.
Yeah.
Roll notice as well. I'll just give everyone a little bit of different info. Amian, anything in
How's
particular?
that?
I'm looking for places to get over or around or through the fence. Maybe like places where there's trees that have fallen on either side, or maybe a place where the fence is kind of messed up and sunk in too far.
Yeah,
type of
that sounds great. I'll notice as well for that. That sounds good. Okay. So, as everyone's rolling, we'll go through this one at a time. We'll start with Joe because Joe asked first. So you do, in fact, notice there are patrolling guards. You notice that they are not just your average run-of-the-mill company guards with guns or weird contraptions from the city. You actually are a little bit taken aback, and maybe even your farsight here is actually working against you as you get a very up close and personal view of what looks to be, well, first, some sort of strange looking creature that is, you think at first might be a farmer wearing some sort of stained, nasty overalls, but instead on the top of its head, well, it ain't a head. It's a giant, hideous, rotting pumpkin. And you see nearby are these packs of very large looking canines, but they're not any dog that I would say you would immediately recognize. We can do a roll to check that in a second, but they're not like your average run-of-the-mill mutt wandering around in a town. They've got spikes and weird kind of pointy tails, and almost looks like some kind of, not wings, but something sort of similar, nubile to it. And they're dripping this hideous saliva that every time you, with your farsight, you see a drop come down, you see a sizzle come up. You're like you're looking through that fog a bit, but you can even little see it. And there's packs of these things. And Joe, since you got a farsight, I'm gonna have you're gonna have to roll spirit for this, for fear, as there is a fear test for seeing these.
Fair.
I don't
All right,
think there's
spirit,
a
you say.
I think it's just straight. Yeah, I think it's just a straight fear. No
Yeah.
penalty.
Six.
Okay, so yeah, you keep it keep it together. Since you're specifically looking for patterns and things like that, you do notice there are about 6 of those dudes with those big old rotting pumpkin heads, and you see about 6 of those dogs moving about as well. And those dogs are big. They're like mastiff big. They're like, that kind of thing. So then we'll move on.
Describe this to everybody.
Big
old
enough.
dogs Double D would really like, and some pumpkin head folk.
Cletus would recognize those dogs for sure. He would. He knows exactly what they are. Okay, so who is next? Let's see. Amian, you're looking for places to get through, right? So
Yeah, and I got a 13.
okay, so there are in fact some spots where you can tell that the marshy ground has caused the iron fence to kind of sink in, and it caused like part of it to kind of dip forward and some to dip back, and you can definitely squeeze on through. So you see a place like as you're kind of skirting around from a distance, like you guys, I'm saying you guys are keeping a distance, all right? Because you got the far sight, everyone's keeping a distance, but you probably could sneak through one off to kind of what looks like the southwestish, and what looks like another one up to the northeast. You also notice that there is a gate. There is this kind of it's a very huge kind of double gate. As far as you can tell, it's the only proper entrance. There's other ways in, obviously, but this is the only built way in. Otherwise, the gate, the iron fence goes all the way around, and it's just where it kind of creates some gaps here and there is the only place that you can, other than the main gate. There is this hulking figure that seems to be on duty there, just on the other side of the gate. And he's kind of standing there, but he's quite big, quite tall, quite hulking. Kind of gives Double D and Cletus definitely, comparable in size. Maybe even less rotund in certain areas and more muscular in others. Maybe, but that don't mean nothing. So then we'll go to Cletus. Cletus, beyond the fence, it's basically like this old world castle. There's 3 stories. It's kind of got this gothic structure covered in grime and vegetation. There's a few places here and there, a few windows on the 2nd and 3rd floors you might be able to climb up to. Some of that vegetation might even be able to aid you with some handholds and footholds if you can get past the actual outer fence here. But that definitely probably piques your interest. Louisa, remind me again what you were looking for. I'm sorry.
I was looking for doors, like building doors. So where would we get in? Where would we get out?
There is a main door right in the front, and it is sort of like this. You don't see any guards, at least on the outside, but I will say there are some windows here and there, and you do see with that far sight. I'll give you this. What looks like these, again, very large-looking orderly figures that sometimes are kind of moving about. Those pumpkin-headed figures occasionally cycle back in their rotation back towards the entrance to this place. You also notice that, much like this kind of castle theme, there does appear to be like this. Was it a trellis, I think, or something like that kind of would come down in front of it in some way, or portcullis. I'm not sure. I don't remember my castle architecture.
Are there any like back doors, or like just that's the only way in and out of the building? Is that like set of double doors?
That's a good question. I'll say there probably is a back door. Yeah, there probably is a back door. I would say that would probably be the western side of the building.
Okay.
But it looks like you're not sure if like there's anyone specifically looking at it, but again, there's those windows nearby, and you do see activity on the other side. You can't really make out specifically what it is, but you do see what looks like folks in like coats and stuff like that, like definitely doctors, orderlies, nurses, things like that.
Okay.
And then Dogging, were you looking for anything, or did you just make the juice for everybody?
I assume that was my contribution.
Okay.
Juicing everybody up.
Yeah. So we'll save the actual breaking in for later, but does anyone have follow-up questions before we break for the night? Follow-up questions on what they saw.
a general comparison of the spot where Amian sees where we might get to the fence, comparative like to that big son bitch who seems to be doing a perimeter.
So the
Right.
big son of a bitch, the one big son of a bitch is just at the front gate. He's guarded. He's stationary at the gate on the other side of the gate.
Okay.
It's those pumpkin folks and those dogs that are moving about. There is there's like an empty run of land between the gate and the actual asylum. There is nothing to hide behind. There's no shrubberies, there's no rocks, no trees. It is completely flat ground. The chances of no one seeing you is next to none. It's just a question is maybe you can outpace them or something like that, or you can out-time them or distract them or something like that. But like, it's like you're going to be like, sneaking on your tiptoes across like wide open ground.
Or what if, I don't know how much, oomph you got there, dogging, but what if we did it at nighttime? Well, with that, like the one drink you do that has like little sparkly flecks in it.
A little sleeping.
Yeah, the one lets us see at night.
I can do both.
Because we might be able to see at night and they can't, or maybe they can't see at night, but most people can't. If we could and they can't, well, then that's going to make that open ground a lot easier, right?
Yeah.
Should be.
Hopefully they don't have a scarier night crew that patrols.
And Cletus, as you're talking and you're looking, you see a pack of them dogs go by, which are called devil dogs. Maybe instinctively you reach back and just start scratching the missing cheek you have. You know those well. You would know they can suddenly blink and teleport and be right away, like on a complete opposite side. So that's not even just running after you. They can just and be on you just like that. Their bite hurts. It kind of almost infect you in some ways. They can help each other out. They're brutal, those things. You never seen the pumpkin heads, I would say, but
I don't know if them dogs can see in the dark, but I'll tell you what, one of them helped me lose about 10 pounds off my left cheek here. What was it, like 68 points of damage that thing bit me for?
I did. It was in the 60s, I remember. Yeah, that thing was just
ridiculous.
exploding something fierce. Oh.
Where's the portcullis that you said?
Right through the front entrance of the asylum. Not the gate. Remember, there's the gate, and then there's a whole bunch
actually
of
attached
space.
to the building.
Right.
Okay.
It's basically just like a drop gate. It's a
and that seems to be like
for a lock-in.
And is that like the only ground level door?
There was one. Like? I think we said there's like one in the back that Luisa saw. With your far sight, we'll say it's like it's like a heavy metal door. Likely is like heavily barred or something like that. But you do see one in the back. There are windows nearby, so it's visible for people who are passing wherever that is. You don't know the inner layout yet, but you know that there's folks active.
Okay.
So we gotta find someone in this building, right?
Yeah, two people actually.
Two someones.
So
then we got to get out with them.
That's true. And that's something we'll take care of next time, as we'll end it here. We won't do the full heist yet. We'll have Chuck back, hopefully, for that heist, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's the end of it. We'll call it there for the night. Right on.
We done exercised the demon and then killed it.
Exercise the demon. You guys crushed it. That was great. You guys dominated that pretty well. It could have gone really bad. A bunch of you could have gotten hainted. It could have been fun. Yeah. So, but yeah, no XP stuff yet. We'll do that when we finish this act. But this act, we had a little side quest stuff happening with the exorcism and things. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for all of your generosity and all of those.
That was
better
crazy.
than I was expecting.
Boosts and complications and
so much
subs
stuff
and all of it.
So
thank
much
you,
nice.
thank you.
So much nice stuff. Why don't we do some? We'll do a little round table. Chuck's not here. Dan or Joe, can one of you do the DOK stuff?
Oh my gosh!
Wednesday. Okay, all three of the Ishtar.
I forget what they do Wednesday.
It's aliens.
I'm in that. Dan's in that. Bert, Jeremy, we're all in that.
Yeah.
Thursday.
There's a game that they run on Thursday sometime. I don't know.
Sometimes Tales from the Loop. So check that out.
I think that's been canceled.
Oh, has it? That's a shame.
Fire Cousin Warriors game.
Yeah, that's what it's
Yeah.
called. Okay. So
Yeah,
what's Friday
that
then?
one's been Friday's
And
Heart.
Friday's
I
going to
believe.
be me running Heart, our third session.
Yay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yay for
And
her.
then
And I think Saturday we come back to what is it? Grim Peril Studios on YouTube.
we'll be on Grim
Tales
and
from the Loop
Perilous.
again.
Yeah, doing Tales from the Loop.
Mhm.
Dan, me, Melissa,
And
we're in
then-
that. That's Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon.
And Saturday
And
night, we've
Saturday-
got our Weird Frontiers game, right?
Yeah, Bert usually plugs that. Okay. We did it.
There we go.
We did it.
That's the
Yay.
Chuck would be
messiest.
Wow.
Chuck would be proud.
Yeah.
Wednesday Alien, Friday Heart, Saturday early in the day, we're over on Grim and Perilous playing some Tales from the Loop. Jeremy, you want to tell us his Patreon?
Yeah, Aaron Reese on Patreon. You've got comics, you've got maps, other RPG assets. It's good stuff. Check it out.
I type in the wrong command. I type in Patreon. Bert, Steam, Steal, and Murder. What's going on with you guys?
Oh, so much going on. This Tuesday, we're going second edition Dungeons and Dragons. We will be playing our second episode of that. Friday, some classic BX Dungeons and Dragons. Saturday, I will be running Weird Frontiers, a horror western using the Dungeon Crawl classics over on the official Goodman Games channel with many of the Defenders of Cobalt there. This Sunday is day off, but if I may, our Kickstarter for Dicey Tales V2 Kickstarter has finally dropped the funds. So if you have filled in your survey, you should be getting the PDF very soon from that. And then we're going to give you guys a couple of weeks if you catch any errors that we should correct before we make the print book available through print on demand through drive-through. Also on drive-through, Weird Frontiers, the split of the core book is print on demand is currently on sale. Both books plus the PDF is $100. It's what is that? It's over $25, over $50 savings if you buy them separately. But it's the big mighty 900-page tome, which was impossible to print as a single book as a POD. We got it split into two books, Magic and Core Rules. So check that out, please. Weird Frontiers using the Dungeon Crawl Classic system.
Fantastic. As for us here, our next game is tomorrow night, where our good pal Steven is starting up Forbidden Lands from Free League. We're doing a new campaign there. It's going to be a session 0. We're going to be making characters and stuff like that. So come hang out with us then. Friday, another new game, another new Free League game actually, as I will be starting up a Blade Runner game. And so we're going to be taking care of that on Fridays, every other Fridays for that. Saturday, a lot of Free League games all of a sudden, as we're going to be doing some One Ring second edition on Saturday. So we've been playing that for over a year at this point. So continuing our campaign there. And next Monday, if the stars align, if the Elder Gods allow it, the old gods and the new, the outer gods and the inner, or whatever, we will finally start Horror on the Orient Express for Call of Cthulhu. And we've been waiting to do it, gearing that up, getting excited. A couple starts and stops here and there, but hopefully that'll be next Monday as we alternate between this Holler game and that game for the foreseeable future. So thank you to everyone hung out tonight. Thank you to all you who threw out some bits and some subs and just kind of hung out and chatted. It was a lot of fun to see you. Come back, watch us tomorrow, watch all these other folks. I'm going to go ahead and raid some people. So if you want to go ahead and follow the raid, you can raid Happy Jack's RPG. Go watch them, see some more RPG goodness for your Monday. Great rest of your week. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.